The official report into the disappearance of Flight 19 ultimately listed the cause as, well, cause unknown, a bureaucratic conclusion that has done little to satisfy over 6 decades of inquiry. But the real mystery isn't what the Bermuda Triangle did to these 5 bombers. It's why a flight instructor with more than 2,500 flight hours, a man who knew these waters better than his own backyard, made a series of navigational errors so fundamental that they really defy the logic of his experience. To understand what happened on December 5, 1945, you have to strip away all the supernatural folklore and look at the, unsexy human reality. Fatigue, equipment limitations, and a single catastrophic failure in spatial awareness. What most people don't know is that these weren't just any Avengers. They were TBM-3W models, a specialized variant carrying a surface search radar pod under the wing, designed specifically to hunt submarines. This mission was a routine overwater navigation drill, the kind performed hundreds of times without incident. But on this day, a perfect storm of mechanical ambiguity and human limitation turned a training exercise into an enduring enigma. The flight plan was straightforward, a navigation problem known as Navigation Problem Number 1. The 5 Avengers, led by Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, would depart from NAS Fort Lauderdale, fly east to Hen and Chicken Shoals for practice bombing, continue north, and then turn west to return to base. The entire evolution was designed to take approximately 2 hours. The weather was described as favorable, though reports noted a building swell and scattered showers. Nothing a seasoned pilot couldn't handle. The critical detail here is the equipment. These aircraft relied on magnetic compasses, which are honestly notoriously unreliable during aggressive maneuvers or in the presence of electrical interference. More importantly, the pilots had no modern GPS and no ground-controlled approach radar to guide them home through a scattered cloud layer. Taylor was an experienced combat veteran fresh from a tour in the Pacific. He'd recently transferred to Fort Lauderdale, but he had a history of getting lost. Just a few weeks prior, he'd had to be talked down from a patrol after becoming disoriented over the Bahamas. The flight launched at 2:10 p.m. At 3:40 p.m., a routine radio check from the leader was overheard, but it was the transmission at 4:00 p.m. that shifted the nature of the mission. Taylor, sounding confused, reported that his compasses had failed and that he was over a small island he believed to be the Florida Keys. This was a catastrophic miscalculation. If he was over the Keys, his mental map told him to fly northeast to return to the mainland, but he was actually over the Bahamas, hundreds of miles east of his position. By turning northeast, he was steering the flight directly into the open Atlantic, away from land. The sun was setting, the weather was deteriorating, and the sea state was building to what naval records later classified as moderate to rough, with 30-foot swells. For a carrier pilot, landing on a pitching deck is one thing. Ditching a land-based Avenger, which was never designed for water landings, into an angry sea is another. As radio operators on land tried to triangulate the signal, the confusion mounted. At 6:20 p.m., the flight was still airborne. A search and rescue PBY Catalina with a crew of 13 launched to find them. Its crew, like Taylor's, would also disappear, a fact often conflated with the original mystery, but which speaks to the sheer brutality of the conditions that night. The loss of Flight 19 directly led to a complete overhaul of naval aviation training and search and rescue protocols. The Navy's subsequent investigation, while unable to pinpoint a cause, forced a hard look at the culture of overconfidence in instrument flying and the critical need for standardized radio communication procedures. The enduring power of Flight 19 isn't in the suggestion of paranormal vortices or alien abduction. It's in the sobering reality that in 1945, at the pinnacle of wartime industrial production, 5 advanced aircraft and 14 trained airmen could be swallowed by the sea. Not because of enemy action, but because of a confluence of human error, mechanical limits, and an unforgiving environment. These men weren't victims of a myth. They were casualties of a world before the safety nets we take for granted today existed. Their disappearance forced the institutions that sent them aloft to become better, more rigorous, and more humble in the face of the sea. Subscribe to War Machiner and share this if you value history that goes deeper. We examine the past to understand the machinery of conflict and the humans who operated it.